Okay, so here is the chapter 6 exercise material for Mounce. Let's look at the parsing first. What I want to do is just open it up for you to ask any questions, and we'll walk through any of these. And if you don't have any questions, then I can come up with some for you. So, what questions do you have? Okay, yeah, good question. So, the article is really like an adjective. Adjectives can have any gender because they have to be able to modify any noun of any gender. And so, when you are giving the lexical form for an adjective, a lot of first-year grammar professors will just want you to go back to the masculine form of the adjective because that's going to be the first form you see in the lexicon when you look up an adjective. Okay? So basically the article's that way. What I would encourage you to do when you are doing the article is like if it's a feminine form like number 3 here, you may be tempted to put hey here, or you may be tempted to just put ha by itself, like I think Mounce does. I would encourage you to actually practice writing all 3 so that you just get used to those 3 always being the 3 forms you think of when you think of the nominative singular form of the article. Ha he ta, ha he ta, ha he ta. Okay? And I will be happy if I see that. Now, if you only give me the feminine form, I'm not gonna, necessarily mark you off or kick you or anything like that. And if you give me the masculine form ha, that's okay. But I'd love to see all 3. Just get used to writing all 3 down and thinking in terms of all 3 being the forms you need to know. Okay? Good, thank you. Other questions? Yeah, David?
I wasn't able to get to this like I wanted to. And when I did read it, I didn't understand what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a bunch of gibberish on my book. Could you work through a couple of those?
Yep, I'd be happy to. Yeah, are there any specific ones that others of you would like me to work through? You may have gotten them right, but I'm happy to go through and explain some of these. So I just want to pick ones that would be useful to you. Okay, if not, then let me just pick a couple here. Okay, look at number 2 as an example. We have horai. Say that with me, horai. Okay, so is there anything identifiable about this in terms of a case ending? What do you see here? Okay, so you've got an iota here, right? So here's what I'm going to encourage you to try to do whenever you are working through parsing and figuring out what's going on. Try to bracket out those, strip out, segment your word in such a way that you can try to identify the different constituent parts. So if I chop this right here and bracket out that iota, then I can go back to my chart and say, okay, in my case ending chart, do I have any iotas anywhere as a case ending? And the answer would be yes, right? Where do I see an iota case ending? Yeah, there's 2, right? Nominative plural for which ones? The masculine second declension and the feminine first declension. So let's keep that in mind here and look back at our parsing question. What I know I can fill in here based on what I just looked at is that the case is nominative and the number is plural. But what gender is it? Look at the stem vowel before that case ending, and it's an alpha. So what declension pattern does this follow? It's first. And first declension nouns are usually what? Feminine, okay? So I should expect this to be a feminine noun. Now, I can confirm that, can't I? How would I do that? Go back to your vocab list on page 39 and look at the word hora. So go ahead and do that right now. Look on page 39. And what are you going to see down at the bottom of your list? You're going to see hora. What else do you see here next to hora? Yes, there's an alpha sigma, which is which form? It's actually the genitive singular. So one of the things that he always will do for you, along with your lexical form, which is always which form? Nominative singular. He's always going to give you the genitive singular. Now, you don't know why yet. That's important. We'll get to the genitive case next chapter, and this will be especially important when we get to chapter 10. All right? But for now, just know that he's always going to give you, for a noun, the nominative form, nominative singular, genitive singular, and then after that, what do you see? You see the article hey. And I'm just going to encourage you to put that article with your noun for your lexical form so that you can really drill that. In fact, you could even put it in front, hey hora, or just hora, hey. But always try to memorize the article with your lexical form, okay? Now, like I said, there will be occasionally some first declension nouns that are masculine and not feminine. We'll meet those as we come to them. But the last thing you have to do is give the inflected meaning, which is the meaning not of the lexical form, but of the form with the inflectional ending that is here. So what does that mean? Hora means what? Hour, but horai with the iota is hours. Now, this is nominative plural, right? So this is the form that I would use if it were functioning how? Subject. Like hours are long in Greek, aren't they? 3 hours are long. So that's good. If I had a form of hora that was direct object, I wouldn't change the form. I love me 3 hours of Greek, right? Hours is translated the same whether it's nominative or accusative. When we get to the genitive and dative cases, there's going to be some additional tweaking in our translation, and we'll meet those as we come to them. Okay, good. So that's the answer here for number 2. Let's take a look at number 1. We have anthropon. Say that with me. Anthropon. All right, anthropon. Now, what do you see at the back end of this that might be a case ending? Yes, there is a nu here, right? So let's strip that nu away, and I'm left with a stem anthropa. What can you tell me about that stem? Well, before we get to masculine, the stem ends with omicron, and therefore it's which declension? Second. Now, do you know whether it's masculine or neuter based on the omicron? No, it could be both. And you know that nu could be attached to a neuter word. And it could be attached to a masculine form. In fact, let's take a quick look. How many places do I see a nu case ending in the chart? 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So technically, the nu all by itself could indicate a masculine, feminine, or neuter noun. Which one can I eliminate right off the bat? The feminine form, because that omicron came before. So it's not first declension. But it could technically be any of these, just given the form itself. And so what I have to now know is, does this noun come to me as a masculine or a neuter noun? I would know if I knew the lexical form. What is the lexical form of anthropon? It's anthropos. Okay? The lexical form's not anthropon. If it were, it would be what gender? Neuter. Because the lexical form's always which case? The nominative singular. So if anthropon were the lexical form, then that nominative form would have a nu, and that's characteristic of neuter nouns. But the nominative form ends with a sigma. So that must be what gender? Masculine. So you see how knowing your stem vowel and your case endings can help you here. So this can only be one thing then, right? If the lexical form is anthropos with that sigma after the omicron as the nominative form, then it must be masculine. And if it's masculine, my only possibility for case and number is accusative singular. Okay? Good. And how would I translate it? Yeah, just man or mankind. As an accusative form, it would be like the direct object. I love mankind, or I love man. All right. Now, let's take a look at number 4. Number 4 is basileas. Say that with me. Basileas. Now, do you see a case ending back here on the back side? Got a sigma? Okay, good. Have we learned any case endings that have alpha sigma, where alpha sigma is the case ending? No. We have learned sigma as a case ending. What is the stem vowel? It's alpha, and that tells me that this is first declension. So now I can go to my first declension case endings and ask, well, where does the sigma show up? And where does it show up? Accusative, plural, and feminine first declension nouns. Okay? What is the lexical form? Basileia. Okay? Now, how do we know that? Well, once we drop the case ending here, we're left with the stem, and I've got to go back to the vocab list and ask myself, is that it? Right? Because the nominative form of feminine first declension nouns has which case ending? Nothing, no ending, zero ending. Okay? So it is, it's basileia. And then how would I translate this, given that this is a accusative plural noun? That's right. So listen, this is one of the things that my students do, and it drives me absolutely bananas. They will parse the form correctly. They will tell me it's plural, but then when they translate it, they'll translate it singular. Get that S on there, please, if it's plural. Kingdoms. You see? All right. So that's 3 we worked through. Does that make sense? All right.
Could you go over the number 3, for instance? To me, that looks like an article.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is the article.
In the answer key, the lexical form is.
Yeah. Well, the article really is, there's 3 forms of the nominative singular article, right? Ha if it's masculine, hey if it's feminine, and ta if it's neuter. Now, let's just real quickly analyze this. What's the case ending on tain? The nu, okay? So we just looked at this. How many different places is nu a case ending in the chart we have so far? There's 4 places where a nu occurs. Take a look. Okay? And here they are. Which one of these can we eliminate? Yeah, the 2 on the outside, because this nu has to go with an omicron stem, right? And these nus have to go with an omicron stem. This one can go with an alpha or an eta. Well, what's the vowel in tain? It's eta. So this has got to be first declension, right? Which means it's going to be feminine. And with that nu, it's accusative singular. Okay? So what should you give for the lexical form? Some people will give the feminine lexical form. Some people will do the masculine. And like I just said a little while ago, I encourage you to write all three down when you're doing that. Okay? Now, how would we translate this? The. Now, let's look at number 7 real quickly here. I have lagus. Say that? Lagus. Now, the case ending is sigma, right? Are you sure? Oh, okay. Well, don't we have sigma for a case ending? We do. Yeah. Well, let's think about this for a moment. If sigma is the case ending, do I have any stems that end with upsilon? No. What do my stems end with? Omicron, alphas, and etas. Okay? Good. So that's the wrong way to divide this, isn't it? What's that?
The omicron and the sigma go together.
Yeah, the omicron then would be the stem. Okay, so I've divided this incorrectly. It's really the upsilon and the sigma go together as the case ending. And now I've got the stem vowel I'm looking for, right? What stem, with that omicron stem vowel, what declension can that follow? Second declension. Okay, good. Now, here's the question. First of all, the us that I'm looking at, are there any case endings that I see in my chart that have us? How many places have us? Only one. So this is going to be pretty easy, isn't it? Which one is it? Accusative, plural, masculine. Now, if it's masculine, my assumption will be that the nominative singular lexical form must end with what consonant as a case ending? Sigma. Is the lexical form logos? Stem, loga, sigma, nominative singular. Yes, that is, right? So we're good. Now, how am I going to translate this? What's my inflected meaning of the inflected form? That's right. Not word, but words, because it's plural. Okay? All right. Number 10, one last one. We have Christan. Christan. What's my case ending? Nu. What stem vowel precedes it? Not omicron. So this is what declension pattern? Second. Excellent. Now, here's the question. Is this a second declension masculine or the second declension neuter noun? And how will I know? The omicron doesn't tell me, does it? What's the lexical form? Christos. And if my lexical form has a second declension omicron followed by a sigma case ending, that must be what gender? Masculine. And that means this nu can't be any of the neuter nus, can it? I got to find the nu for the masculine side, and how many nus are on the masculine column? Only one, and that is accusative singular. And so I'm going to translate this as Christ. One Christ, right? Good. Ephesians says something about that, doesn't it? One Lord, one faith, one baptism. Okay, there you go. Does that help? Okay. All right. Very good. What's that? Right. Yes. Yes. Well, it is encouraging when students say, it made a lot more sense after we had class and talked about this. Okay, good. I'd like to know that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was in my office and I was ready to jump out the window and set myself on fire. We got the answers. I can, so that I can fill in the blanks, but okay.
Right.
That only helps if you know it.
Yeah. Well, there is something to be said about actually being able to sit in a classroom setting and interact over this stuff, right? Okay, great. Now, so let's look at the warm-up questions. You're asked to translate these. Were there any questions about how to translate any of these warm-up questions or exercises? He's really having you take baby steps because he's giving you the meanings of all these verbs that you don't know. can we just make one comment here about this? When he gives you a verb, like in beta, agaposi, and he translates it as they love, notice that he's given you a pronoun plus a verb meaning here. And keep in mind that if you don't have an overt or explicit subject, then you need to use the pronoun with the verb meaning. But if you do have a nominative case noun that is the overt subject, he will give you things like he, she, it did something. But if there's a real subject there, an overt subject, then don't use the pronoun. Use the nominative noun as the subject. Where's an example of this? Epsilon. He agape makrathume. He translates makrathume as he, she, or it is patient. So should you translate this as love, he, she, or it is patient? No. You just translate this as love is patient, okay? So you will omit the pronoun if you have an overt subject, okay? And you do here. How do I know that's the subject? Because it's in the nominative case. That's right. And if it's nominative, it's doing the action here. It's the subject of the action anyway. All right. Good. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that is that post-positive conjunction we talked about. So we're going to pull it out and translate it first and then go to the verb. So and or but they love God. Now, why are we making God the direct object and not the subject? Because it's in the accusative case. Yeah. And the subject is plural, isn't it? And tantheon is singular. All right. What about gamma? I have essosin, he, she, or it saved, autos, alus. So, what case is autos here? That's the number, that's singular. What case is it? It's nominative. Okay? You know this is nominative masculine, right? Because you got the omicron and the sigma here. So this is nominative. So who is it that saved? Autos, which means he. So he saved. And then alus has the us case ending with an omicron stem vowel. So what case is that? Yeah, that's accusative, plural and masculine, isn't it? So that's going to be the direct object. So he saved others. He saved others. All right, so looking at those case endings is important to know who's the subject versus who's the object here. All right. Any questions about the translation exercises on the next 2 pages here? Let's look at number 6. Let's read this. We'll read it in unison together. Ready? Pe pleirotai ha kairos kai engiken he basileia. And we'll raise this up just a little bit here. So he gives you the meaning of peplerotai. He, she, or it has come. Now look at ha kairos. What case is that? Nominative. So what role do you think it has in relation to the verb? Subject. Good. So what is ha kairos? So the time or the season. And then make it the subject here. The time has come. Or remember, since we have an overt subject, we don't use the pronoun. The time has come. The kairos has come. Kai and now I have engiken he basileia. What case is he basileia? It's nominative. So what role grammatically does it play? It's the subject. Okay, so notice the verbs came first, subjects came second. No matter, you knew the case. You know it's the subject, right? So how would you translate that? And the kingdom has drawn near. Again, since I have an overt subject, I don't need to use these pronouns in my translation. Okay. Notice that ha kairos is what declension pattern? Second, because of the omicron, and the gender fits the masculine that we've supposed. We've got a matching article, ha, it's masculine, and sigma for the case ending. Hey, basileia, what's my case ending? Nothing, right? The stem vowel is alpha, and so this is what declension pattern? First, and the article matches it, doesn't it? Hey, basileia. All right. Other questions?
For number 7,
Mm-hmm.
just a quick question on that one. How would it be possessive? Because two slaughter, it's just Christ finished the words.
Yeah. So does the answer key say his words?
No,
Okay.
that's what I put. But
Oh, that's what you put. No, why did you put his words? Okay, so you're just making stuff up, huh? Okay. Can I just say something? R.C. Sproul, I remember him saying that he had a little plaque or rock or something on his desk that reminded him of this. He said, "You are required to preach what the Bible says and not what you think it ought to say." Okay? This is true when we're doing exegesis and whatnot. You want to read what's there and not what you think ought to be there. Now, having said that, there are some times when the article by itself is used and there is no possessive pronoun, and our English translations do translate that article as a possessive pronoun. And there's good reason for it. Here's let me pull up one, okay? We'll end with this. Okay, so here in Ephesians 5:25, it says, "Hoi andres," men, husbands, command, agapate, love, tas gunaikos, love the wives. Oh. President Trump must have, oh no, I'm just kidding. No, so how do our English translations render this? Love the wives. It's love your wives, right? It takes that article and makes it possessive because in the context, Paul couldn't be saying anything else, right? And in fact, a little earlier, it told wives to submit to their own husbands. And it actually explicitly uses the word own there. And so my point is, I was chiding you a little bit, but it is possible for a pronoun to have some possessive force if the context is clear. But if you needed to use a possessive form, it would use a genitive form of autos. So he finished his words. To go back, it would be tous logus autou. And we'll learn the genitive next lesson, but that's the genitive form there, autou. So Christ finished the words of him, meaning he finished his words. Yeah. And there's actually a reflexive pronoun that also could be used, which would be he autou, his own words. Okay, good. Thank you.